Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with your current reads / recent reads. I don't know, one of those titles is going to be in the description and on the thumbnail. Basically, I took the month of April to not vlog, and that had kind of already been in my schedule, so I just, even though things changed, I was like, we're going to roll with it. And honestly, it's been a welcome break, but I do miss vlogging. Like, I miss talking to y'all regularly that way. So I'm here with my recent reads / current reads. We are going to talk about what I read in the last 2 weeks and what I'm currently reading, just to kind of give you an idea. I do want to note, I'm going to spoil the secret project in this video for you a little bit. I'm going to tell you what it is. So I will say I'm spoiling it. Timestamp below in like little clickies. So if you want to skip ahead, you can. But if you want to be spoiled, you can hang out and get spoiled. Because it's going to go up in May, the video. So yeah. You'll be excited. I think people are going to be excited to watch me read this series. So no one's guessed it so far, I will say that. But yeah, so I will be doing that. But first up, let's talk about the wonderful device I've been reading on for the last over 2 weeks now. The Bigme Color e-ink reader. So they reached out to me and offered to send me a device, obviously. And I was like, absolutely, because we know there are things I love here, and it's testing tech. I love reading accessories, technology, all those things. And this is a color e-ink reader. So as you can see here, I've got it open, and I've read pretty much exclusively on this for the last 2 weeks to really get a feel for it before I talked about it with y'all. I wanted to talk about how much I'm enjoying this device and how much it's basically what I wished the Kindle Oasis was. So I was just going to show you me using this some here. First up is me unboxing it. It came really, really well packaged. I will note that because that is important, obviously, that something comes well packaged. It also came to me really, really quickly. They told me they shipped it and I had already gotten it. There are some really cool things like anti-shake and like ghosting things. So when you're reading graphic novels and manga, it kind of helps the colors to refresh better and not do funky things. It also has really cool things like voice to text. It has speakers in it, so you can listen to audiobooks on it. The thing that I think I love the most about this device is that it's on an Android OS. So the Android operating system gives us Google Play Store, which means, yes, you can literally install Kobo, Kindle, the Viz Media app, the Shonen Jump app, your Libby account. Any bookish place you read, you can install on this device and read from it. So I really love that you are so integrated into one device, including, you can do things like open up Archive of Our Own and read a freaking fanfic if you want. And honestly, who doesn't want to do that? So that might be a me specific thing, but still. And I'll show you here some of me using it like to listen to an audiobook through my Libby app, reading manga on the Kindle app. It works pretty seamlessly for manga. I've really enjoyed reading my digitals this way because I think it's an easier way for me to like remember to pick them up. I also thought it's really cool that we have this pen that you can use to write with. I use it mostly to highlight in my books, which I've enjoyed a lot, to be honest with you, just like highlighting things quickly while I'm reading. But you also can do things like split screen and write notes physically with the pen and all sorts of other things. For me though, for me, the appeal of this is just the reading elements the most. But yeah, so I do think that works really well. I know somebody's going to ask about comics on the e-ink screen. So here I am pulling up volume 1 of Something's Killing the Children. Because I was going to do Saga. And then I was like, that's kind of a spoiler if you're not caught up. And I do an earlier volume or a later volume. So I did a volume 1. If you're seeking like high color integrity in e-ink, reader is never going to give you that, but I do think it's still a pretty easy way to read a lot of comics or mangas on an e-ink screen. And also the battery life on this thing is fantastic because unlike the Oasis, I can read a whole book on it and it doesn't die. Like I can read for 6 hours and it doesn't die. So there's that. I'll link to it down below for y'all, but I'm going to keep using it. If y'all want a like Oasis Kindle Paperwhite, this comparison, and maybe I'll get the Kobo. The no longer like sponsored portion of this. I would like to know if y'all want me to compare this to my Oasis and my Paperwhite or another e-ink tablet that is not Kindle, because I do love the option to be de-integrated from the Kindle Amazon system completely. I think that's kind of nice to be able to read other things on my device. I still love my Kindle. I'm still will be using it, but I do think there's a lot to be said about being able to access some of the other places I like to read and or take advantage of things like Kobo Plus if I want to. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to keep using it, keep testing it. If you have any specific questions, let me know in the comments. I will give you the best answer I can about it. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Definitely let me know. Is one of those things that I'm open to doing some test videos or comparison videos, more like doing some more of those for y'all, but I just don't know what device people really want to hear about. So let me know in the comments. All right, let's dive right in to my recent reads, like everything I've read since the 1st of the month to now the 15th, technically the 16th when I'm filming, but you get me. So first things first, let's talk about what I read that isn't The Secret Project. The first book I read in April, and was kind of sad I didn't vlog because I kind of cried in it. I cried during this book. This was so good. And that is Abby Jimenez's Just for the Summer. I cried. It is GMA's pick of the month, which I'm so proud of Abby for, and the team over at Forever. I love Dana. She's a delight. And I'm just so happy that this, like, the 3 Abby Jimenez books I've read so to date are like amazing, and I love them all. So I'm just happy to see this one also get some love. So first things first, this follows Emma, a nurse who's a travel nurse with her bestie / like sister from another mister situation, and Justin, who has a Reddit thread that he posts about how every girl he dates after they break up, they find the one. And it's like the bane of his existence, okay? And she messages him because she has the same problem, basically, but she's also not seeking an actual long-term relationship, I think is a key point to have here. Emma, our heroine in this, quite literally is so unlikable and such a mess that I deeply appreciate it. It felt so real. I felt like I could have met these two in real life, okay? Like, that is how real they feel on page. So Emma is recovering from a lot of neglect as a child and just things like that, right? And very much a pushing people away. So we are watching her process what she's done to her life in a weird way, and like the ways she's combated her traumas, while we watch Justin fall in love with her. And that is like something I don't feel like we get a lot. I feel like it's usually the reverse. Like, get a lot from the female perspective in a book where it's a cishet couple, right? So we watched this in reverse, and it was so fascinating. I mean, Justin literally takes a pool floaty across a lake to get to her when she is sick and take care of her. Like, it is so good. I loved this book. This book basically made me cry. Just a little bit, a couple tears were shed, and I do not cry often during books, and this made me teary-eyed. But Emma's toxic mom shows up. There's a lot of good banter. There's a lot of good relationship building. There's a lot of self-discovery. I think the 3rd act breakup made a lot of sense. It worked for me really well because the two of them did need that to come back together. Justin is also dealing with a lot of stuff happening in his family and taking on the care of his siblings and things like that because of some things I'm not going to reveal fully yet because, again, you kind of need to read it. But this was a 5-6-star favorite, somewhere in there. Like, it is a high rating. I loved it. We also got a great cameo for Part of Your World and yours truly. It just had the perfect little mix. I'm really, really happy I read this. And I'm really sad because I think it's my last Abby Jimenez for a hot minute because her next release deals with something I'm not reading right now, which is dementia. So I'm happy this was my last one until her next one after this because I don't know if I could handle, I'm just not sure if I can handle it right now. I'm not in a place for it, you know? So yeah, this was fantastic. So good. Really, really like emotional and well done. Definitely a book you could pick up and read in a sitting or two. I loved it. Next, I read a little novella called Meet Me Under the Yew Tree. This was recommended to me by Heather and Robin. They loved it, so I had to read it. That's how things work. This is a great little novella that mixes a little bit of historical and a little bit of paranormal into a really fun story that does feature ulcerative colitis. I think I said that. I don't know, whatever. I said it right the second time. So it features that, and it is about a woman who sees the death of this person that she realizes is her soulmate, basically. And she keeps saving him from death as they journey through the English countryside together. And then end up mates, of course, and in love and get to live happily ever after. But it was really good. It was really touching. It was really fun. It's a really quick read. I just had so much fun. I read it in like 2 sittings because here's the one thing I will say. It's kind of cozy in a way, but it's cozy in that way where you just might fall asleep reading it. So I started it before bed and I was like, oh, this is not a good idea. This is not a before bed book because it knocked me out in like 2 pages. And that is not a hit against the writing. I thought it was really, really well written overall. But the thing is if something's like that, like soothing and kind of melodic in the writing, it just makes me go to sleep. if I'm already in bed? Like, it's just no avoiding it, right? Like, so that's exactly what it did. It made me be like, let's go to bed. So yeah, I really liked this. I think this was so fun. It was a little different than a lot of other things I've read. It really just kind of hit the spot for me. I had so much fun with it. I'm giving it like a 4.5. I'm excited to see what else this author writes. I don't know if they've written anything else, but listen, if 2 of my friends give it a 5-star, I'm like, yeah, I gotta read it and find out what I think. So that's exactly what we did. I literally wrecked it to my mom. So you know I had to have enjoyed it also to do that. Then I read Thief by Cassie Mint. This was a freebie recently this month, so I picked it up, and it's like, I'm glad I got it for free. It's in KU. Definitely don't buy it, okay? Like, it is not a buy book, but it was fun. Like, I had fun with this. This is like a 3-star. When I say like I had fun with a book, but it wasn't like a 5-star or 4-star, this is what I'm talking about. This is like a 3.5, right? It has tropes I don't love always, like the virgin heroine and stuff like that, but it follows, and like nonsensical plotting to an extent, right? This follows a heroine who is a thief, and she gets snuck into a house there where she's convinced this guy's gonna be gone. Her best friend is like a hacker person who she's neurodivergent, and I'm pretty sure autistic, as the heroine in the second book will be autistic, which is her friend, who's a hacker. And so she's tracking, and she knows he's going to be traveling, right? And because she knows this, she helps the friend, like, know to break in to steal this piece of jewelry. And she's, like, eating his leftovers. And he's in the bed, and he hears the microwave beep. And catches her, obviously. But he's like, she's so attractive. I don't want the cops to take her away. So that ensues their, like, couple days together. And then she leaves because she has to. Because she has to process her guilt and trauma. And it's just bonkers ridiculous. But also a delight. Like, it was really fun. But also just, like, so nonsensical. And then he does this really cool, like, his grand gesture to get her back is really, really cool and fun. I thought it was really unique. I don't want to give it away, but I was happy with it. I was like, this is fun. I am going to read book 2 probably sooner than later. But again, this is a series in which I'm going to tell you fun, not quality. Like, it's more fun than quality when you read it. Which, like, it's fine. Like, you can like a thing for just the vibes, right? And this is totally one of those books you got to go in knowing, like, this is going to be top tier quality, but I'm going to have fun when I read it. And that's exactly what happened when I read it. I was like, this is so much fun. Okay, and next we're going to talk about the last thing I read that isn't The Secret Project. I also read Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. I read this in one day. I read this in the span of like an evening, took a break, and then at bed I finished it. It was so good. I really enjoyed this. I've been struggling to find books that I just like don't want to put down lately, and for me that's like a marker of being in a good reading mood. And I've just not been there. And that's okay. Like, I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to read what I read. And, like, you know, I do this for fun. So, this book, though, I started it. We were watching TV, of course. And I started it. I don't remember what we were watching. I think we were watching one of the Fast and Furious movies. So, we were watching it. And I started reading this a little bit. And I just kind of couldn't stop. This is a new adult college hockey romance with a hockey player, figure skater pairing, which like I always love. It's so fun. And she is also taking care of her 2 younger brothers and is trying to like keep her scholarship and a lot of things happening while her dad is in the background like falling apart and diving deeper and deeper into his alcoholism. So definitely check some content notes on this one. I in particular would call out alcoholism, driving while intoxicated, child neglect, PTSD on both parts, I would say, because our hero has PTSD from a hockey injury he had. So yeah, this is kind of angsty in a way, but it's the kind of angst I really enjoy also. So I really had a good time with it. I think this is one of those ones again where it kind of hit the perfect balance for me of like angst and like action happening on page for their love progress. And yeah, I had a really good time. Really good time with this. But yeah, I loved how much this involved our heroine like learning to, Sadie is her name, to accept help from others and accept people like that they are trying to help her and they're not like trying to take her brothers away from her and things like that. And the little epilogue we got was like perfect, like the perfect little bow on their story where I was like very satisfied. And I did end the book feeling like they are not going to break up or like this is their for real, like this is their person, which I loved. I also really enjoyed our hero's parents are very on page. and involved in his life and trying to help him recover from his injury and live a better life. And when they meet Sadie and her brothers, like they're trying to help them. Like it's really sweet what happens there on that front. It was so fun. Like it was very, very fun. For how angsty it was, it had a lot of fun elements that I just didn't fully expect. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I think this is a really fun, enjoyable read. It is definitely a little different than some of the other new adult hockey books I've read. So yeah, I had a good time and I'm excited to see what comes next in the series. I have no idea who the next book is for sure. I have like 2 theories, but I haven't like dug in on what Peyton, the author, has said will be the next book. All right. Spoilers incoming for The Secret Project. If you don't want those, skip ahead to the current reads, okay? And I'll talk about what's on my TBR right now, where I'm at, what's going on, what I'm reading. Obviously, all my manga reads will be in my 30 and 30 vlog, which will have my haul for the month and my stats and all that good stuff in May. I about said April. It is April in May. So skip now if you do not want to watch me spoil The Secret Project. Last chance. All right, here we go. I am reading the Shatter Me series in full. So all 6 novels and all the novellas, because I have to know. Listen, here's the thing. This is a series. The reason this kind of happened is like I've seen some other people talk about this series and like reminisce on it. And I was like, I've never read this. I think I need to read this because I'm just curious. Like at the end of the day, I'm curious and I've been surprised, like happily surprised so far. So I've read Shatter Me. I have read the first novella with Erin's point of view. And right now where I'm sitting is I'm liking this. I think it's pretty fun for the time period it was published, especially like keeping that context in mind. So like that's been nice. I really found book 1 to be fine for the most part, like a 3.5 for me. But the novella, I really liked the novella with Erin's point of view of what was happening. And I think that novella also gave me just enough world building that like I'm now kind of hooked in and want to know where we're going with this storyline and plot. I will say for me, like the first book suffered in ways because of the fact that I was like, I want to understand this world more, but like how can we understand it when our heroine doesn't really understand it? I don't mind the writing, even though it's such like, it is the epitome of purple prose, lyrical writing, all those words that people use to describe things. I never like, it's not something I always think about because I don't read a lot of books like that, but when I do, I'm like, that's it. This is that kind of thing. And that's exactly what's happening here. I think it is just that epitome of that mix, right? So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm in the middle of book 2 right now. So the vlog is happening. It's going to come to you either mid or late May. I'm not really sure yet on timing, but I should be done with them either this month or early next month. I'm trying not to rush myself through them and just kind of enjoy my time. So we'll see. Spoilers are done and we can talk about my current reads. Like what is marked as currently reading on my Goodreads shelf. So first things first, I am still working on my read through Pucking Around. In fact, today I'm going to knock out at least 50 to 100 pages of that probably. And that's going to put me closer to done. Honestly, I moved it. Like the biggest takeaway I had for myself when I did my reset was I moved it from where I had it so I could see it and be reminded to do my read through and my notes and my annotations. So that has been moved out and I will be annotating and reading it more. Then how far am I in this? I'm about 22% through Cross the Line. This comes out in July, I believe. So, I mean, I'll put the date down here. But yeah, this comes out in July. I'm excited to continue this. The one thing I will note about the e-reader is I don't think it turns pages well in my docs. So, because of that, I haven't picked this back up. And I want to, and I need to, and I'm really enjoying it. So I will, at some point, be returning to it sooner than later. But we'll see. We'll see when that sooner or later is. But it's definitely not a like I stopped because I wasn't enjoying it. I stopped because I wasn't enjoying it on that e-reader. So yeah, I think it'll be my Kindle read right now, and then I'll read other stuff on my new Bigme e-reader situation. And then the other thing I started last night, which I'm very excited about and actually enjoying more than I expected to, is God Complex by Darcy Dahlia. This is a I don't know if it's MFM or MMF. Like, I'm not sure if the swords cross or not yet, but this is about 2 actors who are also serial killers and the romance author whose books they are starring in the movie adaptation of. And they both are already obsessed with her. So, like, I'm 20% into this also. I think I'm 20%. 15? Hold on, I'll tell you. Okay, yeah, I'm almost 20% in. I'm like 16% now, so we're getting close. Anyways, I read like all of that in one go last night. Like I was just like, I'm very intrigued. So this follows the 2 movie stars. They both end up cast in their respective roles that they actually, like, as humans, kind of inspired in her books. And they are, like, trying to figure out how to get her on set, how to meet her, how to compete with each other already for her. Like, this is very interesting. I'm very curious. But also, they found each other out because one of them caught the other one in the act of, like, a murder. So I'm just like, this is interesting. This is interesting. So this just feels like a very different setup for a lot of the serial killer books we get currently. So I'm kind of working on a project around serial killer books. Surprise, surprise. You're going to see me reading quite a few of them in the next 2 months probably while I get through these for that project, because I just kind of want to have like a sit down video at some point about it, because I do enjoy them. But like, what about them do I enjoy, and why are they so popular out of nowhere again? I'm reading that. I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to be really interesting. They all have not met yet, so I'm waiting for that. Like, that's what I'm building up to right now. So yeah, I'm really interested. We're also in everyone's head. It's like we switch POVs every chapter, right? Like, we are in the author's head, we are in the two actors' heads. So I find that also really interesting. I tend to enjoy that in these kinds of books sometimes. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I'm not really reading anything else. Like, I've got manga on deck, obviously, for 30 and 30. I'm doing pretty good on that. And I'm excited to see what else I pick up the rest of the month. I will be back, obviously, with my next video in a few days here to talk to y'all. And yeah, just let me know how your reading's going so far in April. Where are you at? What have you loved? What have you hated? Any of those things. And then, you know, don't spoil The Secret Project if you watch that in the comments, please. But yeah, I'm excited. Like, you can be like, I'm excited to see Secret Project. Like, don't say the name if you can in the comments. If you don't want to do any of that, any of these questions I have for you, you can leave me a knife emoji. Let's do a knife emoji, because the last book was a serial killer book, so why not? So you can leave me a knife emoji in the comments, and I will be back to talk to y'all in just a few days in my next video. I'll have links to all these books, links to that color ink e-reader, and links to my friend anywhere on the internet, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.